feelings down and not honor them. And we have to understand that our feelings impact our bodies, as he mentioned, right? Our mind and our spirit. So it is important when we are looking at our feelings, when we're addressing our feelings, use a feelings chart like the one that I handed you. You can Google 100 words feelings chart. And as you read each feeling, even if you don't think you connect with it, check in with your body, because you will feel tension in your shoulder. You'll feel a tingle in your leg. That's letting you know that that feeling exists in your body somewhere, somehow. And if you sit in silence long enough, that memory will rise up for you. And that needs to be addressed. Now, on the wellness wheel, you will see about 9 or 10 different aspects of wellness. This is important because so many times we hear work-life balance as if it's one thing and then the other. But the reality is we have a lot of things in our life that we have to tend to in order for us to be well. So when we're out of balance, a lot of times it's because we have not tended to one of these areas. Creativity for me is something that gives me life. I say life is spelled L-I-F-E. The F stands for fullness. If you take the F out of life, what do you have? A lie. So we want to make sure that we are living a full life. These stories, The Adventures of Froggy-T and Bunny, a hip-hop tale, because they're a frog and a bunny, so they hop and they just happen to be hip. And it's also because they are lyrical in nature. As a teacher, to help with fluency, comprehension, context clues, I found that rhyming helped people learn words. All right, so I made sure that that's what each of these stories have. Also, I remember as a child. How many people remember reading as a child and learning words as a child? And there used to be this thing in the back of the book called a what? A glossary. So I made sure all my books have a glossary in the back of the book. So therefore we can go and look. And as one of my 11-year-olds told me as she was reading it, she said, what? There's a glossary in the back? I said, yeah. She said, oh, Dr. Walls, that's top tier. I said, oh, okay. Now, what I also did was I put processing question. Who remembers when you would read stories and they say, find the main idea?
Yes.
All right, what are the supporting details? There are those types of questions in the back of the book. What did you learn? What coping skills were taught in these books? So each of these books have life lessons, social skills, coping skills, feelings, vocabulary. This latest book came out, I think it was October 7th of this year. So this is fresh off the press. This is the first time I'm reading it. So thank you, Steph, for allowing me to do that here. And this one, now I say, let me get this on camera. I am the self-proclaimed #1 adult children's book throughout all multiverses. All right, I'm claiming all spaces and places.
Yes.
Now, why? Thank you, and so it is. I touch and agree with that. So now, the reason why I call these adult children's books is because every adult who reads them asks me, did you write this for me or did you write this for my child? And the reality is I wrote it for everyone because we all have a what? An inner child. We are the culmination of every age that we've ever been. So this is going to touch you in some way. All right, so we ready to learn? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna sit down. We're gonna go back to the old school here. So this is Froggy, Foo, and Mungoo. And I'm going to actually read the dedication because all my dedications are done with purpose. One of them was actually dedicated to Stephanie. And when I do the voiceovers, every book comes in print, ebook, digital audio book, and one comes in animation. And I'm happy to say Stephanie is the voice of Bunny and all of my Bunny and Froggy-T.
Nice.
And for those, yes, and for those who know V. Shane Frederick, he is the voice of Froggy-T. All right, so this book is dedicated to those who really want to create the best version of themselves and the Mungoos who have come into our lives to help us along the way. Even though it can be hard to leave behind who you were, it can be done. With focus, dedication, self-control, and commitment, you can strengthen and build your positive characteristics. You can be the version of yourself that will make you proud and be a benefit to the world. You got this. All right, here we go. The day Bunny was bullied, she called Froggy-T, sounding so upset. As her friend, he wanted to do something that he wouldn't regret. To be honest, some retaliation thoughts did cross his mind, and he thought about turning into Froggy Foo just one more time. Who is Froggy Foo, I hear some of you ask? Oh, that was the name Froggy-T used to use when he would wear his ninja mask. See, when Froggy-T was a young tadpole, he used to imagine what it would have been like if he were born a ferocious dragon. As a tadpole, Froggy-T was tiny and sometimes scared of others because every so often he was picked on by his older brothers. So he thought, I'm gonna puff up my chest and look really mean and become the toughest, leanest fighting green machine. I'll blow fire whenever I get super mad. Oh, how I'm gonna show them all who's really bad. Froggy-T had this image of himself as one tough dude that led to him actually acting really rude. His parents, teachers, and loved ones began to worry when they saw him enjoy bullying others and laugh when he made them scurry. Froggy-T would put on his ninja mask and cause disruption all over the place. He would even ask people if they felt froggy and jump in their face. The bully brothers and Froggy-T became very fast friends, at least until Mungoo came to town and ventured in. Mungoo was balanced, grounded, cool, and very observant. He introduced Froggy-T to the martial arts, but wondered if he'd learn it. Beyond the fighting, intimidating, breaking boards and stuff, to be honest, Froggy-T used to only do it so others would think he was tough. At first, Froggy-T didn't know that martial arts would calm his insides down. It even helped him realize where his actions were bound, to take him if he didn't get it together and make decisions that would make his life so much better. I know we all now think of Froggy-T as being a calm and cool dude, but he used to spend a lot of time being in a really bad mood. And then one day, Mungoo really made it click when he said, Froggy-T, fighting and being mean doesn't have to be your shtick. I want you to think about what you really want in life and how you can achieve it without causing so much strife. There is so much greatness inside of your being, and I see more in you than I think you are seeing. Let's take the time to look inward and discover the real Froggy-T and stop relying on this make-believe cover. This dragon persona that you created, that's a bully with bully friends, is unequivocally overrated. Mungoo's comments really hit home because Froggy-T's bullying and mean reputation had surely grown. Froggy-T had become the ferocious dragon he thought he wanted to be. But upon reflection, he admitted, this super mean dude really isn't me. As he sat, he contemplated about how he wanted to feel, interact with others, and how to keep it real. He realized that he didn't want animosity to lead him astray. Instead, he wanted peace to lead and guide the way. He also wanted to treat others the way he wanted to be treated too. And he really wanted to make friends, be kind, and create an image that was new. Froggy-T realized that if he spent time focusing on who he really wanted to be, then he could make the changes that he needed to see. With that, Froggy-T actively put the ferocious dragon to rest so that he could be the version of Froggy-T that he considered the best. He thought about things that he'd really like to enjoy, like music, sports, playing games, and resting on his sharp boy. He reflected on how he had been spending time and realized he hadn't been making his life sweet. Instead, his actions were making his life bitter, like a salt-soaked lime. He also wasn't making an impact in a positive way. That's when he knew he had to change and work on the version of Froggy-T that he wanted to stay. So Froggy-T began to fuel his new interests and make some new friends. He was also able to mend relationships that had come to an end. Froggy-T even decided to play the sax. That's when he found out that it helped him calm down and relax. He also noticed and began to see that his music had a positive impact on others while helping him chill and just be. Mungoo had shown him the importance of how to observe, being true to himself, and even how to serve. He taught Froggy-T about balance and staying grounded too. He even introduced him to a dish called Mungoo. Over time, Froggy-T had morphed into this smooth and cool dude who was kind, generous, and no longer rude. But when Bunny called that day sounding so upset, he had a moment that he'll never forget. As his empathy grew and his mind was filled with concern, he felt his insides experiencing anger and his stomach started to burn. He then looked in the mirror and saw anger in his eyes. That's when he knew the ferocious dragon was coming back and Froggy Foo was on the rise. Froggy-T opened his drawer and looked at his ninja mask, but then stopped and looked in the mirror again. That's when he heard his conscience ask, Froggy-T, what decision are you going to make? Really think about all of your progress and what is at stake. Froggy-T now wondered, am I going to go back to the life I had left behind? Or am I going to stay the course and help Bunny find her peace of mind? He remembered all the lessons Mungoo had taught and the inner and outer peace that he had actively sought. Then Froggy-T sat down, centered himself, and thought about how he could really help Bunny stay calm and empower herself. As a friend, Froggy-T knew that he liked to feel support and be reminded of good strategies, not just the last resort. He made the decision to accompany Bunny on their way to school, remind her of her pride, and play the sax to keep things cool. He would encourage her to take some deep breaths and remind her that deep breathing helps our nerves get some rest. Froggy-T remembered that they could take an alternative route, so Bunny could see more options and erase any doubt that she was in this experience all alone, or that she would have to be scared or run on home. Once these action steps were clear in his head, Froggy-T drifted off to sleep in his bed. The next day, Froggy-T walked with Bunny and did everything he had planned. He really enjoyed playing the sax and sounding like a one-man band. He provided the support that his friend definitely needed and proved to himself that Froggy Foo had been defeated. This life experience was real practice for him to listen to his inner voice and tap into his core being to make the best choice. In that moment, he realized that he had grown into who he wanted to be, the calm, cool dude we now all know as Froggy-T. And as I mentioned, in the back of the book, there are questions that you can reflect on, that you can use for conversation starters, such as name 3 lessons that Mungoo has taught Froggy-T. How would you feel if your friend called you about being bullied, and how would you help your friend? Describe the type of person you want to be and the reputation you want to have. And these are important conversations for our young people, but honestly, they're important conversations for us all at any age.
Amen.
Okay, so there you go. So I'm over there. So the books are available, and there'll be 2 more books next year as well.